All right, I want to start off by saying thank you guys so much for joining me on another video. Today as of course you saw from the thumbnail and the title, we're now talking about the behind the scenes of a movie we're currently working on called Becoming One of Them. Now, I'm sure if you've been following along for a while that this is a project we've been working on for quite some time. As a matter of fact, during this interview I realized that, hey, I've actually been working on this project for like 3.5 years. Like the writer approached me back in February of 2017 and, mentioned that he wanted me to make this short film, took a look at it, and then just kind of blossomed from there. So what you're going to see is we did a bit of a video interview between myself as a producer. We also have Evan Mead, who is the co-producer and assistant director. We also have the director, Lyle Groniger, and you might see later on that we'll also have the writer joining us, Peter Shaman. So this is really, really cool. Lots of great information. Keep in mind that we are splitting this into 4 different parts. So you're just going to watch a little bit of the segment. But if you want to see the rest of it, make sure you please like this button and follow along with the playlist, because we're going to start posting the rest of these pieces throughout the upcoming weeks. And this will just give you a little bit of behind the scenes as to what's been going on with the project, where it all started, some of the big challenges, and how we've gotten to where we are right now. Because at this very moment, we're almost done the movie. Like, it's literally almost done post-production, and then we're going to start sending them off to film festivals. So we'll see how that goes. So make sure you stay tuned, watch the entire video. So right now, let's get into the video. Let's start off with, let's talk about not necessarily our favorite movie, because I'm sure we can talk about thousands. Let's talk about, what is there one particular movie that got us really into filmmaking in the first place? Who wants to go first?
Very well. I can go first. The movie that inspired me to get into filmmaking was Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino's first directorial debut. I really liked the level of restraint in Reservoir Dogs, the fact that we don't actually see the heist play out, and the amount of choices he had to make, despite his limitations, that actually ended up benefiting the film ultimately, with the level of mystique that it has. And all the actors do a solid job, especially Steve Buscemi, Harvey Keitel, Michael Madsen. I really enjoyed Reservoir Dogs. I always look back at it every time I start a project.
Yeah.
Evan, what's your favorite?
What
got you into filmmaking?
There wasn't any. Actually, there were several movies that got me into filmmaking. I would have to say the original Star Wars kind of sparked my imagination and showed me what is possible when you come up with neat ideas for things to design, and just the will to get them on camera. So that aspect of Star Wars said, yes, filmmaking is possible, and if you've got this big enough vision, the sky is the limit and beyond, of course, because it's a space adventure. The movie that actually, but I was a little hesitant to pursue filmmaking as a kid, because I'm like, okay, you have to have money and you have to be good at it. But then when I was in high school, I saw Clerks, and that was made by a dude in his 20s who worked in a convenience store and literally asked his boss, hey, when the store closes, can I shoot here overnight? And he hired some guys with practically no acting experience, and they give amazing performances. Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson, who play Dante Hicks and Randall Graves respectively. They've never acted before, but they deliver lines so well. And it's not the most evenly paced comedy you'll ever see, but just the fact that he sold his comic book collection, raised the money, and got his boss to close down the store at night so that he could film, that's a really that just shows you what is possible when you don't have all the resources, and it shows you how resourceful you have to be and how resourceful you can be to make a movie. And just a quick side note, Lyle and I had the pleasure last summer of paying a visit to the actual Quick Stop convenience store where they filmed Clerks all the way back in 1990. It would have been 1993 that they filmed it because it got into Cannes in 94. So we've been to the official Quick Stop convenience store in Leonardo, New Jersey, and it doesn't smell very good on the inside, but just being there was quite a sight to see.
Yeah, that was a highlight. Clerks is a good choice too. That would be my second pick.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I can definitely say the one movie, or actually trilogy, I should say, that really got me into filmmaking was The Lord of the Rings. I
Yeah.
remember being introduced to it essentially around like 2002, 2003. As soon as The Fellowship came out on DVD, that's when I started to watch it. But the appendices really got me into it because, like, I think I've watched the appendices or the behind the scenes more times than I've watched the movies themselves, just because there was something about it that showed off this grand adventure, which is kind of funny because the whole story is a grand adventure, but it's
Oh
just
yeah.
how
Yep.
big was the production and just the thousands and thousands of people that were involved. And I loved and appreciated how the documentary, the behind the scenes, went into every single department, from the writing to the art to the cinematography to the shooting to the post to even afterwards the festivals. Just absolutely blew my mind. And that's when I just kind of went, you know what, that's what I want to do. I don't know what my specific job would be, but just that's what I want to do. I don't care what the limits are. I don't care what the challenges are. Just I want to do that. So anytime I get sort of frustrated or anything, I'm watching the appendices right now, and I just use that to kick off some inspiration. Because that was also a trilogy that had its own fair bit of challenges. Obviously, it was a huge, like, high budget production. It's now, like, it was obviously way bigger than Clerks, New Hope, and Reservoir Dogs, but it still had its huge set of challenges. And it's funny because not the first, but the second short film that I made, which was The Passing Storm, was also a book adaptation. So it's funny how things kind of roll together.
Yeah.
So really quickly, could you talk about sort of how you came up with the concept, how you came up with the Becoming One of Them idea? Where did that all come up with? And how did you, or even why did you want to reach out to me?
Yeah, we've been kind of like fawning over like just the brilliance of your script, so we'd love to hear about that.
Oh, well, you guys are too kind.
Yeah.
Really, there was not much to it. Back when I watched Walking Dead when it was good, I remember watching an I remember watching an episode where I forgot what season it was, but it was when they were about to cover themselves with guts and whatever, and so they found a zombie, and I think it was Rick, and he checked the guy's wallet, the zombie's wallet, and he read the guy's name, and then I don't know, something clicked, and I was like, it'd be cool to see, like, you know, an episode or something if they kind of just showed a flashback of one of the zombies' like lives before they turned into a zombie, right? And then I don't know, I just kind of dabbled with that idea, and then it started out as a short story. It wasn't even a script, it was like a short story, and then and then I used it to get into the film school, and then I turned it into a script, and I just sent it around to everybody. And you were I sent it to you because I met you once in film school, and I could tell you were passionate about it, and it was you wanted me to, like, I don't know, I forgot what it was. You wanted to help work on your short film as well, and I could tell that you were just it would be good in the right hands if I showed it to you, and you liked the script, you liked the idea, and it just worked out perfectly.
Oh, well, I
definitely
appreciate that.
I definitely get a Walking Dead vibe from the script, that's for sure.
Yeah.
When it was good, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was like season 4, I think. And yeah, so I thought that would be a cool idea to kind of see someone's life flashing before their eyes, so to speak, and then they turn into a monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, for those that are watching, like something that we didn't kind of mention, but all four of us were from the same film school. We all went to Toronto Film School, and with the
Oh,
exception of Evan, Lyle, myself, and Peter, we all graduated exactly the same time. Lyle and I went to a film production program. Peter went to a writing program. Um, Evan graduated a year or so earlier before we did. And later on, when we got not the current DP, but when we had our first DP on Shaq, and when we got our production designer on Danielle, they were all from TFS as well.
Right. So it was a nice close knit team. I liked it.
yeah.
So it's kind of cool how we all met each other at literally the same film school.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, I went back to I was checking over old messages. I was trying to remember how far back it was that we kind of talked about the script, Peter, and
It
apparently
was like almost 2 years ago.
oh, more than that. It was early February 2017.
Jeez. That's
That's when it all
crazy.
started.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Yet pretty long at the same time. But it's movies, right?
Exactly. Well, I mean, I just remember you messaged me, and I was just saying to everyone, I was like, I don't get scripts often, but like once in a while, like someone sends me a script, and most are okay. Some are just like, yeah, okay, maybe we'll work on that at a later point. So I remember you messaged me, and I was literally in the thick of a lot of work. And I was like, okay, like you didn't even have a script at that point. You just said like, hey, I'm working on the short film. Just wondering if you might want to work on it. It's like, cool. Send me a script, please, so I can take a look at it. And I remember reading over it once, and I was like, yeah, this sounds cool. Okay, great. But I didn't really do anything with it until that summer. That's when I really started to get into actually trying to put the project together, just because I was swamped at that point that you talked to me. So that just
Right.
added on another like 4 months of just waiting.
Yeah. And we were just spitballing like ideas, like not sure if we were actually going to make it. And then, yeah, one day you just emailed me and was like, "Yeah, I'm down to do it, and I'm gonna assemble a team."
Yeah, I think it would have been a year or so later. Um, that's when I started to think about how can I start raising the money and bringing people on board. And I believe the next step that I did was I decided to start a Facebook group and just invite literally anyone who was interested in being involved in this movie, whether it's actor or a crew. I just said, here, just want you to join the project. Let's discuss it. Let's do a bit of brainstorming. I don't know if this will be a good fit for you or not, but let's just talk about it, see if this might interest you, and then see about doing a crowdfund. So I remember that's when Evan, you joined. I can't remember, Lyle. I don't think you were in that group, were you? Or not?
Not in the early stages. No.
Okay. But I remember there was a bunch of us, and we were kind of discussing different ideas, different options, and all that stuff. Eventually, I started a crowdfund, like a Kickstarter campaign, and we tried to raise the money. And I even remember during the crowdfunding stage, I remember, Lyle, you asked me if you could come on and direct it. You felt very connected and very passionate. Um, I was thinking a lot about to bring you on, because initially I was going to reach out to someone else that did a lot of work with zombies and horror movies and see if I could bring someone like that on. But then I remember Evan and I had a discussion, and he was highly recommending to bring you on, that he's worked a lot with
Yeah.
you and he's seen a lot of your ideas and projects in the past. And so then I figured, okay, you know what? I'll give you a chance. Like, let's try this out. What the heck? Um, so that's when you came on board. Evan came on board. He wanted to, as soon as Lyle came on board to direct, Evan, you wanted to come on to AD and help him out. And then we did the crowdfund, and we ended up raising over $5,000. We raised like 5,800 minus Kickstarter takeaway. Yeah, so that's how that part began, and then various other crew kind of joined on. So yeah, so Evan, Lyle, I mentioned about how you kind of got involved. What were your initial thoughts? And also, Lyle, how'd you come on board the project initially?
Well, for me, I just knew like you wanted to make zombie film, and at the time, I was juggling a couple other projects, but I thought it would be fun to go on set again. So I thought, you know what? And I had AD'd like several other projects before with my buddy Sean, and eventually Sean actually asked me to step up on his last short film to like co-produce it along with him, and I actually like took on a lot more responsibilities. Not to digress too much, but the last AD job I did before this was in 2015, and he wanted someone to help him secure permits for a night shoot, and I did that. So so I took on a lot more, and that's actually kind of what happened with this, because eventually I just initially thought it'd be a quick little AD job. I'll come help out on the set and I'll organize everything. But once I started paying attention to like the development process, and once I saw like what the script was turning into and all the rewrites Lyle was doing, I thought, you know what, this could actually be like a really good film and I want like this to be the best that it can be, because like it felt like a game changer, quite honestly, for like not just for like, you know, a career, but just for the genre. I thought it would be a cool project to help get out there, so I wanted to do more for it, and I wanted to have it be mutually beneficial for me too, because I thought it would be good for all of us as well as for me. So that's why I wanted to help out.
Lyle, how'd you get involved, and what were your initial thoughts?
Well, for the last few years, I've been writing a feature script called Ash and Dust, which is a horror action comedy that I've been tinkering away with since probably TFS, like back when I was in film school. And I always wanted a little bit more expertise on directing horror. So Evan brought up this script of becoming one of them. And I've always liked zombies. I always think zombie films are both entertaining and thought-provoking at the same time. And I wanted to touch on that. I wanted to try and make my own zombie film. And the script, one thing I actually liked about the script was that it wasn't all about zombies. Zombies were like the icing on the cake. What it really was almost a lamentation on death and the fear of the unknown, and deteriorating physically and mentally, and knowing that the only thing you have left when you lost everything is your memories. Now, I thought that was very deep, and I liked that. So I got in touch with you when you asked about finding a director, and I think I assigned I reached out to you twice, and eventually we decided to work on the project together. And then we got our crowdfunding, and we got our crew, and we found, when I knew the project was really going to kick off, when we started seeing locations and we started finding places where we could shoot, that's when my mind started to wander, and I started to kind of think of the visual geography of the area that we could use when we were shooting. And we found some really good locations as well. Then we got our cast, and then that's when things started to go into really compressed time, and we had to do everything within about a weekend. And that's when I knew that while we had some challenges along the way, that we were making something very interesting. Maybe I was cutting ahead there, thinking about the future, but that's basically those were my thoughts when I was in the pre-production of Boots, becoming one of them.
All right, you just watched the first chunk of this whole interview. There's going to be 3 more to come, and if you want to check out those, please don't forget to subscribe, because we got tons of videos coming out every single week, including the rest of this interview, so you can check out a lot of deep stories and behind the scenes regarding this project. All right, make sure you like this video and share it to other people who might draw some inspiration from actual filmmakers making real movies and the real experiences from these projects, and from people who are super, super passionate. All right, so good luck with your projects. I hope you stay tuned and watch the rest of this interview, and I will see you guys next time.